international diplomacy of past. The first to come to mind are messengers with letters, ceremonial receptions, or noble ambassadors. All this really were, and diplomacy in the past was very different from the current one. Moreover, it did not have many established uniform standards, and the features of diplomacy and embassy service in different parts of the world were different. So, my name is Dimit, and today I will tell you about 5 interesting traditions in diplomacy of the past. Let's go! Let's start with the Ottoman Empire, or the Great Porte as foreigners called it. Usually the duties of the ambassador in the state included the delivery of letters and congratulations from the Sultan to the monarchs of other countries and the confirmation of peace treaties. The ambassador did not conduct negotiations. He only informed the opposite side about the position and decisions of the Sultan on this or that issue. Probably the culmination of this state of affairs was that, according to the Ottoman diplomatic protocol, the foreign ambassador during the meeting with the Sultan had to prostrate himself and kiss the ground. Some Turkish historians write that the ambassadors were forced to follow this point of the protocol, and sometimes they even used force. Thus, there were no diplomats in the Ottoman Empire, and the Sultan's envoys were only couriers. As a result, the attitude towards foreign diplomats was the same. I suppose ambassadors were sent to the Ottoman Empire for some offense maybe. The next case concerns ancient Greece. As you know, other states of that time tried to pick up some details from Greek diplomacy and traditions, and even the Roman Empire drew a lot from it. However, even here there were some things that are incomprehensible to many today. During negotiations, according to the ancient Greek custom, the ambassadors of that time had to hold the rod of Hermes. It served as a reminder of how to behave during a diplomatic mission. For example, it was strictly forbidden to interrupt the interlocutor or discuss other people with him. Probably a broken method for devout people. The next tradition refers to Russia in the Middle Ages. Many people know the Russian love of festivities and feasts. There was a special ritual for guests and ambassadors. Before the beginning of the meal itself, there was a custom that symbolized the Grand Duke's benevolence towards the guests. When everyone took their places, the sovereign called one of the servants and gave him 2 long loaves and asked him to hand them over to his guests. The servant, for his part, had to bring the bread and say the following words: Ambassador such and such, Great Lord Vasily or other, by the grace of God, the Tsar and Lord of all Russia and the great Prince shows you his mercy and sends you bread from his table. After the translator had translated these words, the ambassadors accepted this bread and bowed their heads in gratitude. Well, I would not refuse to be an envoy to Russia, even if the mission is unsuccessful, then at least you can eat your fill. The next are Indians. In the 17th-19th centuries, they still lived in tribes, so strange customs are not surprising. However, I also thought it necessary to tell you about it. The messengers sent by the council to the neighbors had special distinctive things. For example, hats or headbands. The identity of the messenger carrying the branch of the peace was considered inviolable. He could not be harmed. Kind of diplomatic immunity. Moreover, there were very developed rituals for receiving such ambassadors. They were seated in a common circle of elders whose members in a circle smoked a pipe of peace. This was followed by rather lengthy negotiations. In a primitive democracy, the decision of the Council of Elders had to be approved by a meeting of all members of the tribe, that's soldiers. I wonder if the messenger was able to negotiate after that, or was it done to make him be more sincere, maybe? Last case is not exactly about tradition, but is quite fun. We'll talk about barbarians who, assimilating the customs of Roman diplomacy, tried to derive benefit from them, sometimes in a rather rude form. The Roman Empire, it was customary to give gifts to ambassadors. Attila once sent ambassadors to Constantinople demanding the surrender of the defectors. The ambassadors were showered with gifts and sent back with the answer that there were no defectors in the empire. Attila pondered this. Then Attila sent other ambassadors. When these also received gifts and were released, he sent a third embassy, followed by a fourth. Attila, knowing the generosity of the Romans, knowing that they gave it out of fear that the peace would not be disturbed, to whom he wanted to do good, he sent him to the Romans, coming up with various empty reasons and pretexts for this. All I wanted to tell you today. Give a thumbs up if you learned something new. I will also be grateful for your comments. Thank everyone. Goodbye.